Beautiful want to be proud of Black Americans. Another beautiful wants to be a proud person. Another beautiful one. Guys, when I saw this particular update, I was so excited. I was so freaking excited that they have literally been looking for our names back to back. But it is crystal clear. I don't know, maybe see, there is this thing I always said about Black people. Whenever we are getting to that point where we need to fall into a certain trap, there is how God do this thing, and God will just move us single-handedly, pick us out and keep us somewhere. And then when those things are playing out, we keep seeing how they literally are getting unfold. Let it make sense to me that some of these white folks are raged that Black people's name were not found. What were you looking for? But anyways, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. For disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes. And guys, I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing my videos, dropping super thanks, joining my membership. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's dive right into this video. Watch from beginning to the end and let me know your honest opinion in the comment section. I love you guys. Let's go watch.
No black girls allowed on Epstein Island? Here's why. Jeff gave in at some point and told him, yes, I'll find some friends. Jeff wanted young, fresh girls, virgins. He told, don't bring me any N-words. Never ever brought any friends. At this point in the interview, attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach and may have told them something to the effect of, if you want to party, go to Epstein's. Following statement, shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative. Clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it, the grapes and actual assaults, to be repeated. And she decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more abuse.
I made a video where I said, just found out there are no black girls on Epstein Island. Shit. Happy Black History Month, I guess. When I made that video, it was after seeing this photo that was been circulating on social media where it shows racial exclusion of victims being brought to Epstein Island. When I made that video, it was to point out the irony that racism, something that is meant to harm black people, may have saved some black victims from being sent to that island. However, I did have misinformation, and I do apologize for spreading misinformation when there definitely were black victims of Jeffrey Epstein and his companions. Is that the right word? Though I found humor in the irony of the situation, in no way was I trying to make fun of the victims or say that sex trafficking and child sexual assault is condonable as long as it happens to people of other races. I do understand why it was taken that way, and I appreciate the added perspective that I now have and have since taken the videos down.
No
So, as of today, there hasn't been black victims in the Epstein files. Have there been black celebrities, black people on the logs? Yes. Has there been any damning evidence towards them? Not yet, right? So they're not free. But as of now, there's been no black female victims, and here's insight on why.
black girls allowed on Epstein Island? Here's why. Jeff gave in at some point and told him, yes, I'll find some friends. Jeff wanted young, fresh girls, virgins. He told, don't bring me any words. Never ever brought any friends. At this point in the interview.
So this is somebody named Jeff talking to one of the recruiters. I don't know if you guys remember, but one of those girls, after she was taken advantage of, she didn't want it to happen anymore. So she started to just recruit for him. She said, I don't want him to do it to me no more. So maybe if I go recruit the other girls, he'll leave me alone. So that's what she did. And this guy was saying, don't bring me any words. No black girls, don't bring them over here.
Attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach, may have told them something to the effect of, if you want to party, go to Epstein's. Following statement: shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative. Clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it, the grapes and actual assaults, to be repeated. She decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more. No black girls.
As long as they wasn't black. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. As of now, there were no black victims. I'm going to call that a good thing. You know, I feel bad for all the other victims. You get what I mean? But I guess chocolate wasn't on the menu at Epstein Island.
I told y'all I was gonna go down the rabbit hole, and as I was going down the rabbit hole, something popped up on my timeline from the Eggs and Grits podcast, and they went and found some more things from the Epstein files. And I want y'all to know this came from the internet. This didn't come from me. I didn't do the research. But when I went and read what it had said, what we gonna do with this information, y'all? That's what I want to know. Yeah, we all wanted to know. Right? We was nosy. We like, well, what's in the file? What's in the file? And now that the files is leaking open, what we gonna do with the information? Let me show y'all, because you might get a warning up on the screen telling you to check the information, before you share it. Hold on. Already in Black History Month, the one-time racism paid off. No black girls was allowed on Epstein Island. I'm gonna take it down real fast because that's what it say. Y'all see they tried to take out some of the words, eradicate some of the stuff. Yeah, Jeff said at no point do he want any of them black niggers on there. He with the hard R. He didn't want none of them niggas. That's it. That's what he had said. But then the rest of that statement, okay, and the rest of that, feel free to go back and read it. You can pause, but what we gonna do with this information? Jeff gone, and the people that's running the country is still running the country, and a lot of them was in cahoots. Okay, all right, and I don't know about y'all. I don't know about y'all, but being prepared should have started 3 years ago. All right.
Just sitting there looking at the files and how they said that there was no black women allowed on Epstein Island. Remember this: God's rejection is your protection. There's so many things that protected me from the things that rich people participate in. Amen.
I'm going to say something about the Epstein files that a lot of y'all are not going to like. The only reason that the Epstein files has the power to topple the world is because a lot of y'all genuinely believed that the elite would never treat white people the way that white people collectively treated black people during slavery. Slavery wasn't black people being forced to work a job they didn't care about. It was people being forced to work until their muscles would fall off of their bones. Black people would be tortured for just funsies. They'd be medically experimented on with no kind of anesthesia. You know how throughout the South, even today, it seems like every other pastor and peepaw is touching on kids? Well, that is a cultural stay from when white people used to own black children. Do y'all honestly think that a master is going to wait until a slave turned 18 in order to assault them? It's better to break them in when they're young. But if it was really that bad, why weren't there more slave rebellions? There were slave rebellions throughout the South, constantly. The only reason why you only know about Nat Turner is so that way everybody can point and be like, oh my gosh, look at him, he's so crazy. He started killing these white people because he thought he had messages from God. Even after slavery ended, whenever a black person would be lynched, a lot of the times the white people who did it would literally sever off some of their body parts and keep them as mementos. Black people would be skinned, and then their skin would be turned into human leather, so that way it could be used for leather goods, like coin purses, or the binding of a book, or a bag. There is not a single thing in those files that has not been done to black people before. The problem isn't that elites are doing those kinds of things. The problem is, bro, I thought us white people, I thought we were in this together. I thought we were a team, man. So keep in mind, as above, so below. The elites told non-elite white people, hey, here's a group of people who we deem as worthless and y'all can torture them and do whatever the hell you want with them. and they'll have like little to no recourse whatsoever. And white people collectively, we were like, cool. The trade-off is that the elites also got their own group of people that they could do whatever the hell they wanted to with little to no recourse. The problem is that group of people was you and me. It was pretty much anyone who wasn't part of the elite. White people collectively made a deal with the devil. Here's this group of people that you can violate and brutalize to your heart's content, and in exchange, we get your humanity. That's why white people are miserable and constantly in black people's business. That's why for pretty much at least the past 100 years, any kind of cultural artifact that's really stayed and stood the test of time has been from black people, often just with a white face on it. And that's why, by and large, white people were so disturbed whenever Renee Good was murdered, because we've seen that hundreds of times before, but that's supposed to happen to black people, not to us. And a lot of white people are acting so disturbed because now they're killing our neighbors, but you didn't particularly care whenever your neighbors were dying during the Black Lives Matter movement, now did you? But in the past couple of months, now a lot of white people are waking up to a really obvious reality, and that is black history has always been white America's future. For the past couple of months, white people are being forced to wake up to the obvious truth that there is no kind of solidarity or allegiance of whiteness across class lines. It's always been all of us are cattle to them, like that's it. But all of this is why I wasn't surprised at all when in the new batch of files that were just released, there was like an email or something where somebody said that they didn't want any of the children they were planning on doing things with to be black, because duh. Any white person could violate a black person and get away with it. That's just the way the world is. But to do all of the things that we did to black people onto other white people, that's power. Brutalizing black people just doesn't really fuel the ego for them in the way that hurting white people does. These people aren't in some way attracted to their victims. That's never the case with sexual assault. These people get off on the kind of power and rush they feel, the thrill of having violated something of value and then being able to get away with it. It's the same way that a lot of men will sexually harass or batter women doing notably better than them. It fuels their ego, like being able to violate her and get away with it. This has always been going on. We have always known that this has always been going on. The problem is, you didn't think that you would be in this position whenever push came to shove. You thought it was just going to be the black people. And I'm not going to say that anybody's wrong for feeling any type of way with everything that's going on, but can we please stop acting like we're surprised?
You know, I did hear allegedly that black kids weren't allowed on the island, but my immediate response wasn't the same as the most, which was like, God bless being black, like racism benefited us for once. My immediate thought was that something more heinous was in store for us, or that we weren't like valued as human beings enough to be on the island, or like our voices centered in the stories of trauma. I don't think black people were excused from all the like grotesque, predatory, pedophilic behavior that was going on. If anything, I just feel like we are fetishized in a very unique way where it's almost as if it doesn't need to be platformed because people are so ashamed. I feel like the same could be said for like, you know, any marginalized community, fat people, trans people, gay people, disabled people. Like, people fetishize us and want to like harm us in like sexual violatory ways. I don't even know if violatory is a word. I just threw that in there because felt like it made sense. But I also feel like with everything coming out with Epstein, like apparently, like I think they said like 1 million pages were released or some like insane number. And I just want to remind everyone that like these are some serious things coming out. And I know a lot of us have like been very desensitized to like the very systemic harmful things that have been happening as far as abusers and bigotry go. But I just want to remind everyone that not everyone has the same sense of humor, and it's very sensitive subject matter. And yeah. I'm sending strength and love to everyone affected by stuff like this, whether they are directly affected and like have long-standing trauma from the island, or they're just people who have experienced trauma, or they're just people that don't like hearing about it, because it's going to be rough as people are unpacking everything within these files.
Listen, y'all know I love connecting the dots on all this stuff as it comes out. So let me just put this out there for you. Why do you think, really, they're so against abortion? Knowing everything that we know and have just found out, why do you really think, given everything they're already doing, that they would be so against doing that? Seems a little hypocritical from what they're doing behind the scenes, right? So let me clear it up. They're against abortion because it fucks with their supply. Yeah. And I know that's horrific to hear, but it's also true. When they're aborted, they can't be used for other things. It is a brave new, sick fucking world that we all just got pushed into. And if we want any chance of actually getting the fuck out of it, we have to be radically honest here, even when it is evil and sad and horrific to even think about. We have to. No more. It's not that deep. It literally is. What do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? You know I'm right, but what do you think? Comment below. And if you can, help me out and pump this into the algorithm. TikTok is back at it again, removing my videos, exposing the truth, and giving me strikes for it, threatening to ban my account. Yeah, would be greatly appreciated if you could. Like, share, repost, follow me for more like this, because this is the start of how it all ends. Thank you, Lord. Comment below. What do you think?
So wait, let me get this straight. They literally did everything in their power not to release the Epstein files. They literally shut the government down. They started allowing ICE to shoot people. They was doing everything to not release these Epstein files, okay? Finally, they released them with some redactions to make sure that certain people don't look a certain way. And then everything else that they put out, aside from the things that they say about Trump, was pretty much questionable, because there's witnesses to attest to things that they've experienced with Trump and Epstein and all that. But there's no living survivors who would ever say anything about Jay-Z. But yet somehow our own people are upset at the fact that we're defending that Jay-Z and Pusha T had nothing to do with the Epstein files. We're talking about in the 80s where Epstein was racist as a piece of shit. That man didn't want nothing to do with black people, neither did Donald Trump. But he was hanging out with Jay-Z at the on Epstein Island? And Pusha T?
I said it once and I'm going to say it again. Nobody cares about those victims. Everybody that sat up here and watched those Grammys tonight absolutely proves it. A lot of those celebrities that got awards tonight, whether they was on stage or whether they was in the audience, was on those fucking Epstein files. And the fact that many of you still watched and supported it says a whole lot. Like I said before, y'all never gave a fuck about the goddamn victims. Y'all just cared whether or not Trump's name was in there, and y'all just needed to think pieces and gossip to fucking talk about. Let's be clear. There was so much heinous and satanic and dark shit that was in those files, and for us to wake up the next day and the day after the day and still support these people is absolutely fucking diabolical to me. We are the ones who actually hold the power, but yet for some reason y'all just keep giving it to them, Y'all don't want to believe that Jay-Z was in the files because y'all can't fathom Beyonce no longer being your fucking queen, right? You can't imagine Pusha T being in the files because him and his brother just dropped a dope ass album. A lot of y'all need to fucking stop being delusional and come to fucking reality that this shit is deeper than we can think, imagine, or fathom. And I've said this before.
There's nothing in those Epstein files that has not been done in slavery. And the reason why so many black people are upset is not because, we're trying to make it about us, but it's the fact that we told y'all they did the same thing to us in slavery, or honestly even after slavery. And y'all told us that it was a long time ago, so we should forget about it. And now these Epstein files are out. And now everyone's like, they're eating kids and they're doing this, which, mind you, very big deal. You should be angry. Not trying to take away from that. However, though, when it was us, nobody cared. Nobody gave a crap when we brought this up about slavery. Y'all, I feel like a lot of y'all truly thought that slavery was just working a job you didn't want to work and you weren't getting paid to do it. That's not what slavery was. That was probably if anything, that was probably the not even the tip of the iceberg of slavery. That was not even the tip. The grotesque and disgusting things they did to us as black people, and they still do to us, and we talk about all the time and no one gives a shit. It's very annoying to see all y'all being shocked about this now when we've been voicing this for years. And even without that, but Renee Good and Alex Preddy being unalived, unfortunately, which is still very sad. Again, I'm not trying to take away attention from them because they deserve attention. They were what happened to them was sick. It was genuinely sick. But what happened to them is not uncommon in the black community. This has been happening in America. This is nothing new to us. And we voiced this all the time because, again, Keith Porter also was unalived. Nobody gave a fuck. There was not this big uproar until Renee Good got shot. And does she deserve people to care? Of course she does. I care. I'm very upset that woman got unalived. She didn't deserve that. She literally did nothing wrong. There's nothing in any way, shape, or form you can try to convince me that she deserved that. But neither did Keith Porter. Neither did all the other black people we talk about all the time that get unalived or assaulted or just wrongfully accused or just have all this awful stuff done to us. Y'all never care. Because I've been seeing some videos or comments being like, you know, this is the America I grew up in and blah, 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 usually from white people. And yes, it is. What they're doing right now is nothing new. It's new to y'all. And the thing is with white people, if y'all don't experience it for yourselves, you just assume it's not a thing. You assume that it's not a thing, it's not real, or if it is real, then it's not that big of a deal and it was long ago, so whatever, who cares? Y'all only care when it's y'all, and that's why it got to this point. Because the truth, if y'all would have listened and watched all the signs of what they did to Black Americans and other brown people, y'all would have known that they were always capable of doing shit like this. This is nothing new. I'm gonna keep saying that this is nothing new. This has been going on the entire time America has been founded. Y'all just didn't care because it was not you.
From no black girls being allowed to Elon Musk begging for an invite to Epstein's private island, the latest Epstein file dump lays bare how racist and perverted billionaires really are. Let's get into it. So the United States government finally released over 3 million pages from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. And this latest release contains thousands of emails, photos, and messages that show how the super rich and powerful partied and schemed with a convicted sex offender even after the world knew what and who he really was. It also reveals Epstein's own racist rules, including a directive he gave staff that barred black girls from certain parties. Now, some of the people listed in these files include everyone from Elon Musk to Steve Bannon. Elon Musk is shown emailing Epstein asking when the, quote, wildest party, end quote, on his private island would be. Bill Gates apparently contracted a sexually transmitted disease from Russian girls and wanted medicine to hide it from his wife. The guy in the White House is mentioned hundreds of times, and the files include an FBI list of tips about him abusing countless girls. Howard Lutnick, who is now the Commerce Secretary, had plans to visit Epstein's island with his family in 2012, even though his past remarks say that he cut Epstein off a decade prior to that. Now, former Trump advisor Steve Bannon exchanged hundreds of friendly texts with Epstein, too. Now, there are also major companies that are tangled up in this web of perversion. Big names like Google, Virgin, Tesla, and even top universities like Harvard kept close connections with Epstein. Now, this latest and newest foul dump confirms what we knew all along. Billionaires use their money to pillage and feed their perversions, and despite having all the proof, the DOJ has yet to charge anyone in connection with these files.
Yo, so I'm thinking about it, and I really think we're asking the wrong question. Why didn't they have black people there? Like, for real. Like, really think about that question. I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, oh, it's obvious they were racist. But they were literally assaying, unaliving, and assaulting all the white people there. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that to their own kind? You feel me? Then I'm like, okay, maybe it's just because, like, I'm gonna just use black men as an example. Black men are strong, some black men, but I feel like we're all strong. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I feel like black men would have been a fight. You know what I'm saying? But then you have people like Sasha Riley who literally could fight and defend themselves, and they still abuse. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel like we really need to start thinking about what we're actually saying. Obviously, we don't want it. We definitely did not, us black people, no, we didn't. I'm sure none of them wanted to, you know what I'm saying, be there. But why not black people? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Why not abuse black folks? We went through slavery. So did other races, but we definitely did. So why not black people? You know what I'm saying?
They want black people to be in the files so bad. So this past weekend, it's been, circulating that Jay-Z is in the files, Russell Wilson is in the files. And shout out to Russell Wilson because he cleared his name very quickly. Basically, he said that it seems like he was in the market to buy a plane, and a plane broker reached out to him about a plane that was for sale. He didn't end up purchasing it, but he had no idea that the plane actually belonged to Jeff Epstein. Right? And the broker obviously isn't going to disclose that. So now his name is associated with these documents because he was going to buy his plane, but he had no clue whose plane it was in the first place.
And then everybody's jumping for joy because Jay-Z is in the documents and they want to have a gotcha moment like, see, Jay-Z's not innocent. He's a bad person. But anybody with some sense who's thinking logically and clearly could see that this is false. So Jay-Z is mentioned in the documents because a anonymous tip was submitted to the FBI that him, Pusha T, and Harvey Weinstein sexually assaulted a girl in 1996. That does not even make sense. The dates alone do not even make sense. 1996 was the year that Jay-Z put out his first album, right? It's too early in his career for him to be linked up with Harvey Weinstein. Pusha T hadn't even put out music yet, right? He didn't put out music until the 2000s. That's when his first album came out, 2002. So it doesn't even make sense. It's very clear that this is somebody who was mad that Pusha T had just dropped that diss against Drake and exposed that he had a son. And also Nicki Minaj was also mad about the title deal. That's clearly somebody was mad and they made false claims and now their name is attached to the Epstein files. And Lizzo is right. It's a distraction. I feel like they were so quick to put out, the big black stars' names who were in the documents to soften the blows. Because when the real stuff comes out, the people who have emails with Jeff Epstein, the people who were on the island, the people who are in videos and pictures with these girls and stuff like that, they want to be able to say, well, see, it's not just, it's not just us. Look at the black people that y'all love so much. They're also in it. It's like, no, please be serious.
I'm going to attach the video below, but there's a creator that talked about a portion of the Epstein files that talks about studying black people for the best reproduction and studying the positive attributes of black Jamaican runners and things like that. I'll link the video below, like I said. And I just want to let you know that's the positive eugenics that disabled people have been warning you about. Yeah, particularly disabled black people who know that there's no difference between positive eugenics and eugenics. It's just a matter of branding. And that eugenics is really just race science remastered in such a way where people from those demographics feel like they have a power and a hand in creating ideal societies. That's what you all believe in every single time you think that disabled people shouldn't have kids. That's what you all believe in. That's the system you believe in. Is where you can experiment on black people, where you can study black people so that they have positive results for the reproductive longevity of entire societies. There is no difference between you and Epstein if you believe in eugenics, no matter how positive it sounds. And it's no mistake that this pandemic has run rampant over the last half decade because that is also eugenics. It is also making sure that the weak and the disabled and those with pre-existing conditions die off so that they don't reproduce and create a problem for society so that the rich stay rich. Wait till you learn about homophobia being eugenics. Is all it is a concern that same-sex couples won't produce children for labor. It would also behoove you to realize that that's why they disable you on purpose, so that you don't procreate, so that the undesirable racially don't procreate. Because the two highest groups with disability are those that the United States has tried to exterminate for centuries. Black people and indigenous people. Same in Palestine. For every one person killed, 3 more become disabled. And just so you all are aware, they won't forget that they disabled you. They won't forget that they engineered you and your bloodline as society. The issue is that the rest of you will forget. The rest of you will fucking forget and erase and ignore. That also is positive eugenics. But positive for whom?
Tell me why I will not be proud. Tell me why I'm not going to be proud. Tell me why we don't deserve to be praised every single, like they have literally been searching and searching for black people's name, but black people were not permitted. They were not permitted. They even call them the N-word. You can see from the article that this other lady actually read. They wanted neat people. They wanted very light skinned people because they assumed that we were never neat, not knowing that God was literally vindicating us. They have literally been using one issue or the other to cover up every single shit that has been going on. They have literally tried all their possible best not to release these files. So just watch now. Now that this file is about to trend again, there's gonna be something that will literally come up again and cut it off. because that is how they have literally programmed it. I went to some comment sections of some white folks, saw them there, they were furious, they were angry that they have not properly checked. If they check that there is nothing that black people cannot be attached to it, that is a must that they will see black people. I'm not arguing that black people's name might not come out, right? But I'm saying that for the 99% of it are still these people that has literally been cheating on black people, lynching, segregation, just name it. They are still the ones that are literally found guilty, wanted. Because I will tell you for a fact, if you already know that he has no business with this thing would have been released long time ago. And I said it. I said, if black people's name were on this list, by now we wouldn't have even, in fact, we will not be talking about Epstein files. We will not be talking about it. Because by this time they would have made sure they pull it about, they've checked where they can actually be able to trap us, hold us down. They've not seen. It still baffles them how God usually came through for us. They were the one that used their own mouths to say, we don't need these people here. We don't need them. They are not permitted. This should just be us. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's do whatever we want to do to teenage girls. It's that bad. And it's such a shame. But I'm happy. I'm happy that God vindicated black people. God vindicated us. There might be a lot of reasons behind it, maybe that we have not known, that we have not seen, that we've not heard. But for now, we are proud to be black. We are. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe, like this video, drop me your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.